What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the Xbox Roundtable Podcast. This is episode number 137, your favorite place Sunday nights to just kick back and listen to gaming talk and so much more. Of course, I am your host, Invader, and we've got one heck of a show, like one heck of a lot of a topics list to discuss tonight. Sony recently revealed a whole slew of things, and we will definitely be going into a deep breakdown and analysis into that. But first, let me introduce everybody on the panel tonight. Centurion Buddy, I'll start with you. Great to see you here. Obviously, we had quite the time last night shooting up all kinds of creepy crawly bugs last night. That was pretty fun, huh?
Oh, yes. It was an absolute blast there, bud. And it also raises a very important question. Is it proper to come into another man's gaming lobby and start slapping his dice?
Hey, man, they were just out there. You know, they were free to grab, free to.
Dude, I'm sorry. That just came out of nowhere. That guy just comes in and just starts slapping the dice on the ceiling. I was like, okay, so we've established you can do that. Anyways, what's up? Yes, we had a blast last night playing. Oh my God, it skipped my name. I keep wanting to call it something else.
Help me there, such a blast. You forgot the name.
It's pretty deep. It's pretty deep. I'll say that.
Oh my God, I keep wanting to call it Battlestar Galactica, and I know it's not. Deep Rock Galactica, or Deep Rock Galactic, or whatever the heck it is.
Deep Rock Galactic.
There we go. That game is an absolute blast.
No,
yes.
that's not it.
Deep Rock Galactic?
Yeah, that's it.
No, it's something else. No, it's Deep, not Deep Rock. Look it up, somebody. That sounds wrong.
All right, there goes my intro. So I'm moving on.
What is the name of it?
Deep Rock Galactic. I hate to tell you, Tim.
Right.
I hate to tell you, Tim. Centurion's got you on that one.
Well, no, actually, it's Battlestar Galactic. I wanted to call it Battlestar Galactica just because of the word galactic. I don't know why.
Man,
the sci-fi nerd in me wants to come out.
I used to love that show.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's going back in sci-fi history right there.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Now, Jeremy, my fellow deep rocker, how are you been?
Good, man. I hear someone in the car with their wiper blades on. Who in the hell is that?
That's me.
Oh, shit. How you guys
I'm
doing?
going to put it on mute after the thing. But yes.
Nice. Did you guys end up playing Destiny last night or nah?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Good stuff.
Destiny, I need to play that again.
Yeah.
I was hardcore in Destiny for the 1 and 2, and when I try to go back to it, there's just like too much to do that I'm just like, I have no idea what to do. Because they've just added so much, and it's just like there's so many quests, and I'm not sure what to unlock. Plus, then people just don't play the other playlists, so you can't even enjoy the content. So it's just like, oh, okay, well, I need to move to PC. That's probably where I need to move to. There's not enough people on console anymore. Unless you have a crew.
What kind of show is this, Invader? Did someone just say they were going to PC?
I'm saying for Destiny. It's not my fault. The way they've set up their content to just be like, oh, okay, move on to this, and no one's on this anymore. So there's no reward system. It's not like, at least Diablo offered you, incentive to keep grinding, keep playing. Here's some random loot. Destiny 2, they completely took the at least from what I've played, I don't know if they changed it so far, but they took out the whole reason to re-roll your gun. Like each gun would be like the same set gun. You couldn't get random perks on it. I think you can put them in there maybe now, but it should just be all that on the drop.
I think they did that where you could re-roll it.
Yeah, eventually they did. I left Destiny 2 after like a year and a half when they didn't do that.
All right.
It was just like they took it away. It was like, why would you do that? Then why would I play?
Destiny 2 is pretty good when I have the time to play it. The last time I played Destiny was last night, and the time before that was 4 weeks ago with Tim. So
it was their first expansion with the season pass. Was a complete waste of money, and I came back to that, and it was just like I don't know. There's just not. They didn't know what they were doing then. Now they've kind of gotten back on track, but it's like, well, now I feel like it's too late because there's so many people that left.
See, I would have.
And now, I just feel lost when I come back, and I'm just like,
I bought the whole package with all the season passes for the entire season, and I really feel like I'm not going to get my money's worth because the seasons have already gone.
Yeah, and they just want you to keep paying, and I'm like, I didn't see. You guys are getting this all wrong. Like, do what like Blizzard did with Diablo, but enough of Destiny. So
now, Shock. I know that you've been playing through Splinter Cell recently. Have you been going through that all weekend?
Yeah, I was trying to finish it. That game's a lot harder. Mostly the checkpoint system in the original Xbox. You actually have to go pretty a deep amount in each level to where you get to where the game gives you a checkpoint. And some of there's one mission where it's like where you're having to rescue hostages, and it just throws all these guys at you. And I'm like, I thought I'm supposed to be like a spy, trying to sneak in, not like Call of Duty. Like there's just a part of the level where it's like, and back then it's just like your aim was not. I'm like, holy crap! I finally got through it, but man, those games are a lot harder than I remember.
Right. Yeah, no, I like me some Splinter Cell. Hopefully, we get a new one.
I almost want to hold off and not finish it because I know they're going to be adding like HDR, and it looks damn good on my 4K TV with HDR. Like the fire scenes look crazy good. But I'm like, man, I'm sure his like green glove is like goggles would be like if they actually add HDR to that, it's going to look sick.
Now, were you playing it on the Xbox or were you playing it on the original Xbox?
No, I was using the. I used the disc because I have the disc.
Okay.
But I just use it on my Xbox One, even though I do have an original Xbox. But what they do with the it's cool when it actually loads in the game is, and you see it for a second when it loads up the save file. You'll see for a split second, you'll see like the original graphics for like a millisecond. You can barely notice it, and then you see the trilogy. The what?
Did you buy the trilogy or?
I just went to my local when they announced backwards compatibility for OG Xbox or Splinter Cell games. I just went out and just bought the original Xbox disc at the local game store because they're like I got them for like $4 a piece. They're super cheap.
Yeah, they were on sale not too long ago. I think I paid Pandora tomorrow for like $5, and then Chaos Theory for like another $5.
Yeah, I just picked up the physical discs. I didn't know that Double Agent, there's actually two versions of the game. The one on 360 is mostly like daytime missions, and the one on original Xbox is nighttime. So I never knew that until recently. So I need to pick that one up.
Well, technically there's 3, but really there's only 2 Splinter Cell games on the 360.
Yeah. And that game too, like the original Splinter Cell, I mean, it looked just extremely good for its time. Even the lighting in the game, like just imagine that with HDR. Oof.
Yeah, the lighting's pretty sick. Even today, I'm like, wow, this had that, way back then, like 2003 or 4 or something like that.
Yeah, back then that was the equivalent to like ray tracing of today and light sourcing and all that junk.
Yeah, such an awesome game.
They just need. I don't know why they still haven't brought that back. I thought for sure when they had dropped that and said, "Hey, we're making all these backwards compatible and enhanced Xbox One X enhanced," I thought was for sure that was going to follow suit shortly after. Hey, we're bringing back Splinter Cell, and this is to kind of build up hype.
So one's heard anything. Like, are they ever going to bring that back? Are there real solid evidence?
The only evidence
anybody heard was that insulting stuff on Twitter that they did.
No, Michael Ironside kind of hinted at it himself. He kind of let the cat out of the bag that they're making another one.
Really? Okay.
But I mean, it still remains to be seen. Yeah, look it up. He's kind of briefly mentioned it
because that would get a lot of people hype if he just came out and had his voice and just.
I thought all the rumors with his voice were due with Ubisoft games like Wildlands and Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and also creating a cell phone game. I heard like his voice captures weren't going to be used for what people thought.
Yeah, but if you go back and listen to the YouTube video, he kind of not indirectly mention. Well, he indirectly mentions it. But we'll see.
I'm so sick of these damn rumors, man, and get my heart broken.
See, that's the only thing is that like kind of make like with rumors is like I hear there's a lot of rumors, but with me, call it a curse, call it a gift. I remember the most damnedest things, and I remember when that guy at that event was drunkenly basically trolling people on Twitter about
about Splinter Cell.
About Splinter
Yeah, I
Cell.
remember
And he
that
was
now.
one of the developers from Splinter Cell, and basically making it look like there was going to be a Splinter Cell game, changed his icon to like Sam Fisher's goggles and all this other stuff, and then basically started telling people like, you're never going to get this. It was like along the lines of, you're never going to get this game and all this other stuff, and he was basically trolling the fans, and he had people that were in like the development community reaching out to him on Twitter saying, dude, you need to stop doing what you're doing right now.
Right.
I'm tired of the rumors. Listen, after the Sega thing, just what, a week ago, when they pulled that little Game Gear, I'm like, are you kidding me? That was it. That was the big announcement, Sega. Like, I'm just like, I just want to just stay.
Well, that was all because that journalist was saying, "Oh, he's got." I'm like, "Oh, well, he's writing about it next month, so he's got something. It's going to be in the article." And he said it's PS5 level stuff, and I'm like, "Okay, well then it probably is some type of deal or console or something." And I guess it was a console.
That took all the wind out of my sails. I'm sick of this.
Right.
I just want to just chill. And then Jeremy, all throughout the year, he was just talking like, if Sega this and if Sega that.
Yeah. I said
if.
I didn't say for sure.
Well, I know,
library.
I knew it was something you wanted, like me wanting Microsoft to buy Bungie. You know, remember that whole thing? You know, boy, that get me.
I remember.
But I get your passion. You wanted it to happen.
I have dreams, man. I need a dream.
They could do a subscription service and put like all their Dreamcast games like on. I obviously know they couldn't because Offspring, they couldn't really do Crazy Taxi, so that's out of that game can never be backwards compatible. That's the other thing that sucks with the because I totally missed it. The Forza Horizon 2 when it was like Games for Gold.
Wait a minute,
because they threw it up there because it had to be delisted because of the music rights.
Wait a minute, what do you mean Crazy Taxi isn't backwards compatible?
Well, I meant like not that it
for Xbox.
I just meant like in general if they tried to do like a Dreamcast or like a Sega subscription and put it on both Xbox and PS4.
They should do that.
They should do that. I was just saying, like games like Crazy Taxi wouldn't make it because they're filled with.
I was gonna say I have it on
unless they did a whole new deal
right now.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I think once you buy it, kind of like if you had like Scott Pilgrim or whatever, like, you got it. But then they took it. But then they took it away.
Oh, they delisted it.
Yeah, like
So
they
Crazy
delisted.
Taxi
You can't buy
delisted?
Forza Horizon 2 digitally from the store.
Yeah, I have that. I got that one before it was delisted. When I found out Overlord was delisted, I went to GameStop and got the physical disc for Overlord. And then now you're just kind of revealing to me that Crazy Taxi is delisted. I didn't even know that.
All right,
No, I didn't. No, I wasn't saying. I was talking just in general. Sega tried to do a subscription service, and I was thinking like, oh, that'd be cool. And then I was like stopping myself, like, oh, like games like Crazy Taxi, though they probably wouldn't be able to do unless they did a whole new deal with like Offspring or did new music. I guess they could just do the game.
I see what you're saying.
Right. Let's see. Moving along here. Tim Dog. Hey, buddy. How you been the past week?
I'm doing good. I'm almost home. Just bear with me driving home. I fell asleep on the couch. I knew I had to be home, so I'll be home like I said, 15 minutes. But for the time being, you're gonna probably hear a car. So other than that, looking forward to the show. And
Tim Dog's doing 20K good.
yeah. Happy to hit 20K, but yeah, I'm excited for the show. We got a lot of topics.
Absolutely, brother. And Megatron, hey, buddy, how you been?
Been good, man. Missed a couple of weeks. Glad to be back. Hang out with you pals, you gals, and talk some games. You know, let's go. That's it. Business as usual.
All right, short and sweet. I like that. And before we get into all the hot topics, all the PlayStation reveals, we've got a bit of an announcement to make. So starting in, well, a few minutes, give or take, maybe 5-10, we will be giving away one, and I say one, Cyberpunk 2077 themed Xbox One controller. Now, just head over to our Twitter account in a few minutes and look at the pinned tweet for ways on how to enter. And again, just give it a few minutes. The giveaway will end in about 2 weeks. Guys, it's a fantastic looking controller for a really awesome and immersive game. We cannot wait to give this sucker out. So very exciting. Very exciting. So head over to our Twitter account and look at the pinned tweet in, well, about 5-10 minutes. All right, guys, we are going to dive now right into the biggest news of the week. And a few days ago, Sony had their stream for the PlayStation 5 announcements. And, well, hey, they had a lot. They had a lot to show and a lot to say. And we had a slew of new games announced, such as Gran Turismo 7, Horizon 2 Forbidden West, Ratchet & Clank, Rift Apart, and, well, a whole bunch more. And we finally saw that Sony lifted the lid off of the PlayStation 5 console. Well, actually, there was 2 versions, which is pretty interesting, to say the least. Now, boy, guys, where to begin here? Jeremy, I'll head over to you first on this one. So, what did you think of all the announcements on their stream?
So, I thought the overall show was great. No, I'm just kidding. It was good, not great. I give them overall a B. I think I really liked the way the console looked, even though it's pretty massive. I've seen the memes going around, which were, I gotta admit, they were pretty funny. But I think the console itself looks futuristic and high tech, and an expensive piece of hardware, as opposed to, I mean, maybe I'm, it looks like a piece of expensive hardware, as opposed to like the Xbox. That matters to some people, who knows, but Sony opted to show off a lot of games as opposed to just chatting. What? Go ahead.
So it looks like an expensive piece of hardware. So you're telling me that OLED televisions need to look like they're like flowing? I'm just saying, man.
It just looks okay. I should have said it looks fancy. How about that? It looks fancy.
It looks artistic. Yeah. We'll say that.
Yeah, let's say fancy. But Sony did opt to show off a lot of games, and as opposed to just the standard E3 format, which was talking about the tech. And I'm glad they didn't do that. But
they already did that.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about during this particular show. So I think they showed a lot of great games. Some terrible. I mean. Let's talk about the good ones. I think Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man were pretty good. Actually, really good for that matter. Project Athena was great. I think Oddworld kind of tugged at people's hearts a little bit because people love that series. And I know Demon Souls was highly anticipated. And of course, there's Horizon 2, which I think was their entire show. To be honest, let's be honest for a minute. The bad was, I think, maybe everything else. I forgot the name of the show. Yeah, I think it was Crap Gamer's favorite game, that strawberry shortcake game. I don't even know the name of it, but
Snacks.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my god. Strawberry with eyes.
I think Sackboy looked absolutely terrible. It looked like a Vita game, but I think Godfall I was so wrong about Godfall. That game looks horrible.
Hey, which one of those games were in 30 frames per second? Were they 60? Are they all 30 frames per second, or?
Some are 30, some are 60.
I should have cut you off, Jeremy. Go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
No, you can cut me off any day, buddy. Astro's Playroom was horrible. I think it was smart for Sony to do a digital console. I think it's going to be really interesting to see if Lockhart really exists at this point. So I think I'm on the Lockhart is now just a digital version of the Xbox Series X bandwagon. But I don't know what you guys think. I think Lockhart the way we know it doesn't exist. I think maybe it's just a digital version of the Series X. Who knows at this point? But overall, I think it was a good show. There was some nice titles in there. Which one? Ghostwire Tokyo was pretty good. I really enjoyed Jet the Far Shore. But like I said, there was a couple of stinkers in there. Overall, it's good. I think Xbox has a decent opportunity, a really good opportunity come July. I'm looking forward to the show. I think there's some big things lined up for it, and I know you guys are excited for it.
Can't wait. That's the Slipstream engine.
Yep,
Halo.
exactly.
So real quick, though, is that a day one buy for you? Everyone in here, is it a day one buy the PS5, or you guys gonna wait or digital first, Jeremy? Okay, so with you, Jeremy, you gonna go digital or you gonna go disc?
I'm gonna go digital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't buy physical games, so there's no point for myself to purchase one. I buy all my PlayStation 4 games are digital, so I'm gonna opt for the digital copy. I think it was smart on their part. I think they're gonna, but I think Xbox has an opportunity to undercut them. Whatever the price is going to be, whether that Target rumor is true at $400, we'll find out. But I think they do have an opportunity. Xbox could come in and steal the show and steal the narrative with either the Lockhart for whatever that is, or the digital version of Series X.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
I want to say that I'd go for the physical one personally, even if it is pretty thick. But I might first. Obviously, I'm gonna get the Xbox Series X, and I might wait a couple of months depending on availability for the PlayStation 5. But I don't know. I don't like the idea of me personally just getting an all digital console. But man, that PlayStation 5, it is hefty. Like, it doesn't look like a lot at first, but it looks like a bloody.
I've seen everything from the Lord of the Rings with the eye.
Fucking Shockley posted one on Facebook. I was fucking dying with the sandwich.
Are you an idiot sandwich or whatever?
Yeah, there's two papers between their head.
Where it was used as the Pope's hat.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
The router,
it looked just like a router once they put the antennas on there.
As far as aesthetics go, I don't think it's not. I didn't like it, but I did not like it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, because I've never really been the one that just kind of got hung up on the looks of a console, unless it was really that bad. I have to say it got kind of close with that, but even still, I think I would get used to it. And I don't know if I would lay it down or just keep it straight up. It looks better straight up, but when you lay it down, I can't help but to think of a router.
Straight up,
I think of a router, but then where would you put that? Because I got a 65-inch television in my bedroom. I mean, I bet
let me ask you a question.
Three-quarters of the way.
How do you like your women? Do you like them laying down, or do you like them sitting up?
I'm pleading the fifth on that one. I get all types of trouble with that.
Have you seen it? Have you seen it laying down?
Flip a coin on that and tell me.
It looks so. Like, I would want to get the digital one because it looks better. Because you can tell that was like their original design, and they were like, oh, okay, wait, we gotta, figure out how to put a disk drive in there. Okay, we'll just kind of expand it. But when you see the digital one laying down, it really doesn't look as good because it's like it looks like it's on a heat pad. It's just floating above, like, the console. None of the console is touching the bottom. Whereas the one with the disk drive laying down, at least the disk drive part kind of like curves into like the table or whatever you have it on, and then there's kind of like a stand to kind of wedge in there. I think myself, I'll probably get the digital since they're not doing any backwards compatibility with like PS2 games or PS3 games. So like I do with the Xbox, I have like 360 and original Xbox games. So I would get like whatever had the disk drive there. But Xbox, I think they definitely need to match the price of the Series X. Needs to match the price of whatever the digital one is for Sony. I don't think they can get undercut with the same performance as the PS5 regular edition with a digital edition. I don't think Because then
I'm confused on what you just said. What?
I'm saying X. I think the Series X, like this one they've shown us so far, needs to match whatever price the digital PS5 is being sold at.
Why?
Really?
Well, because even if right now Lockhart is being told, or at least the rumor is that it's a lower performance.
That's because you're getting rid of a 4K UHD drive.
Well, and
it's a big selling point of the console.
GPU, not really, not in today's market. I mean, I stream all my all my movies, or I just download
sorry
them.
For you because you ain't getting a true 4K experience. And I'll argue that up and
it's
down
true.
because
it's true, but it's pretty.
Anytime you get a hiccup in your line, you're instantly dropping to 1080p or worse. So I can see it. I'm a pixel junkie or a digital junkie, whatever you want to call it. I go straight to the source. I have a physical media library that is like taking up a wall in my house.
Yeah, I think those days. I
definitely can see the difference when I put the disc in, as opposed to download playing. I would buy a 4K movie. Like just the other day, I just bought a 4K movie, and I could definitely tell the difference between the streaming portion of it and
I could see the frame rate jumps. And for me, all right, cool. Right now, you're enjoying your experience, but let's say all of a sudden another pandemic happens, and they start limiting bandwidth on internet through your service provider, and we all know they do that. And all of a sudden, what you pay for, you can't get. Because they're basically saying, well, we know you paid for 4K service, but sorry, everybody's at home and we can't handle the bandwidth, so we're just going to limit your internet. And basically, it doesn't matter what you paid for, you get what you get. And I am not against buying digital versus physical. I have both. But I'm going to get a console with a disc drive just because I don't want to be limited to that problem. Like right now at GameStop, they're selling Darksiders 3 for $5 physically. Sometimes the physical games are actually sold cheaper than digital, so I like having the option to kind of go where I can save the most money.
I like the game share option. That's kind of a...
Gotcha.
Well, I just go with whoever I game share with.
I would have to side with. Sorry, Tim, but let me real quick. I would have to side with Shockley on this one because I do think that Xbox needs to either undercut or come in at that Sony digital price point. Because again, if they're offering a Lockhart, which is underpowered for the PS5, I think they're going to run into some trouble. So. I think maybe that digital console's out there. Who knows?
But wait a minute, there's no official specs been revealed for the Lockhart. So the underpowered,
the rumored specs, everybody.
I'm just saying the rumor of it.
We don't even know it exists at this point. So, but the rumor of it even existing is that it is a lower spec. That's been the whole rumor of it.
So now imagine you're a consumer. Looking to buy a system, are you going to buy a cheaper PlayStation 5 at $400? Or are you going to buy an Xbox Series X running you $500? I think that's going to make a difference.
And a lot of people are going digital anyway. A lot of casual consumers too.
Yep.
That's how. Taking all.
I mean, they do it now. I mean,
it's a hardcore game. We don't. I'm just doing disc. I'm always doing physical, like the hardcore PlayStation fans, because they can.
Yeah, and I mean, you could say what you want about another pandemic. We don't deal in hypotheticals. We deal in right here, right now. So,
and right here, right now, the American internet infrastructure is nowhere near what is needed to support an entire digital ecosystem. I'm sorry, but. There is still counties in this country of ours that are still running off of dial-up.
That's crazy. I never knew that in my world.
Those people aren't buying
did that.
But it's just
people on dial-up probably.
But it comes down to like game development. Also with console development, the lowest common denominator always wins out. So you have game development, which is the lowest common the lowest common denominator right now is going to soon be PC using mechanical hard drives. And same with hardware development, the lowest common denominator is somebody who is wanting to have these console experiences that are stuck with a dial-up internet. And that's one thing. When you are building a product and you are wanting to put it in everyone's hands, they got to look at the person who has the best case scenario and the person who has the worst case scenario and try to create a product that kind of fits in between.
You know, since there's not too many people that have dial-up, not too many at all. I mean, just like look that up. It's just laughable. But anyway, like take for my small town, for example. I mean, we get some nice bandwidths even in a small town and in a remote place in Montana. And I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. You could go down the list and look at, you know, as far as the cities or towns that have the lowest. I mean, there's something to be looked at that at the data as far as that goes.
Mm-hmm. Guys, I mean, as far as the look of the actual console goes, though, I'm kind of conflicted myself because in one way I like it. It does look sleek in some areas, but man, the size of that sucker, I don't know. Like me personally, I would like to like just lay it down, but it is just so thick.
It doesn't look good laying down though. So I don't know. Like,
well,
and then go ahead, Tim.
No, I mean a couple of things. Listen, you know, I think that the Xbox really needs to match the equal of itself, which would be the one with the disc, because it's definitely a more powerful machine. It's you know they're different in performance, and I think that's going to show itself, especially with the games running 120 frames per second, certain things like that. You know, so I think they just need to match it, the disc, and I think they're going to end up being. It's either going to be $499 for the Series X. Definitely Series X is going to be $499, but it's either going to be $549 for the disc PS5 or $499 for the digital, or it's going to be PS5 disc $499, digital $449. I don't think you're going to get a $399 console. If they do hit that price, that is a very big thing for Sony. I do believe the Lockhart's going to kick in at about $299, so I think that's going to be also without a disc. So that would directly, I think, compete with the discless PS5, in my opinion. And as far as the show, I agree with Jeremy, pretty much spot on with everything. I give it an 8. But it puts Xbox in a position where they can definitely answer back and make a statement here.
Not $400 like some people are trying to predict. If it was $400, they would have said it.
Game over.
Especially
Game over.
2 copies or 2, a digital one, they would have said it. If there was a $400 price, at least that's what I'm thinking.
What was the one game that stood out for everybody?
Strawberry.
Strawberry.
Crap Gamer's favorite game, the Strawberry game.
No, guys.
To me, I've never played a Ratchet and Clank game, so I'll admit to that.
It's great. Yeah,
Ratchet and Clank was the standout. That was the standout.
It looked good. There was so much going on the screen. Did they ever say did that have anything to do with the SSD? Did they give examples of like? Because I was curious.
Ratchet and Clank is definitely going to be an example of that SSD in action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can tell, but just by him warping in those levels, massive levels, it's seamless.
AI was on the screen.
Yeah,
that was it to me. I was happy about Spider-Man, but that was that. Yeah. I didn't see the gameplay really on that. It was just CG, right?
No, I think
basically
that to me was good enough.
They're taking the same Spider-Man game and basically developing it, moving it towards the PS5, and then giving you new missions, new story. They're not building a whole new,
That's not
game.
Spider-Man 2. Put it that way.
They were very specific in their naming.
It's their way to kind of repackage it, develop new story, which is cool, and new missions and stuff like that.
I think with I think with Ratchet, it's one of those things where you could see what next gen is capable of in terms of the fidelity on the animations on the screen. I mean, some of these monsters you fight, it looks like Pixar graphics. It's crazy.
I was amazed by it, man.
Yeah, the lighting and the details with Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, it was just mind-blowing. Like you said, a Pixar game. It's like these movie quality, big budget titles. It's really impressive what Insomniac is doing. And well, now that they're under Sony officially, I mean, they got access to more resources. Actually, I'm pretty impressed with Insomniac. Not only do they have a new Ratchet and Clank title, but they have the Spider-Man Miles Morales, which they kind of came under fire because it was just, I guess, how they were terming it, because they were saying a standalone title, but then other outlets were saying other things.
Sony exec totally screwed it up. They did it fine, but Sony in the morning, like the day after, said something that alluded to it just being like DLC. And then that's what got everybody like, wait, it's DLC or is it not what you said it was initially? And that's what got everybody confused. Because some Sony exec just said it was DLC.
They didn't stop him with the joke, though.
Yeah.
I like what somebody said on the new Spider-Man game, actually showing the shortcomings of PlayStation not having smart delivery.
Yeah.
I think it was hyped, at least the ones that were exclusive. I would say Demon Souls. Out of the whole show, though, I would say Resident Evil 8 was the one that got me the most hype, going back to Resident Evil 4 aesthetic type village. I don't know why Chris keeps changing character models every time we see him, though. Now he's like
I'm such a loser. I didn't even see anything on Resident Evil 8.
Well, I don't normally get hype. Yeah, I don't normally get hype for multiplats. So
isn't that what they showed the most of, though? Wasn't it mostly multiplats that they showed?
Not exactly.
No. Yeah, not a mixture of both.
Or a lot of it was timed exclusive. So yeah, there were.
Okay.
Yeah, games like Deathloop and what was it, Ghostwire Tokyo? That Bethesda game. Those are timed exclusives, I believe.
But Oddworld, was that exclusive or is that coming into both platforms?
I believe that's time exclusive as well.
Yeah,
I mean, it might, but that one might be an exclusive. I need to look at the list again, but
it might be time. But
the timed ones, I can't remember.
But that brings up something interesting with regards to exclusives, because you look at the launch lineup for it and how it's shaping up. Right, they might have maybe next month or August, they might have a few more announcements, but if you look at what they have so far that's looking like launch exclusives, you have the Spider-Man Miles Morales. They seem pretty confirmed on that. You got Astro's Playroom, and what else do we got?
Packing game.
Yeah, and what else? Jet, The Far Shore, I believe, is also a launch game. Like, that's about it, really, for true exclusives. Otherwise, you got those timed ones, Deathloop and Godfall. Otherwise,
yeah. I think
Strange the key game looked good. Strange,
yeah,
right? Was it the Cats or something like that?
That Strange game looks really interesting. I want to check it out.
I think the key in all this is the fact that they don't have a single title that can compete with Halo at all. I mean, you can combine three of those titles, and they can't compete with Halo, no matter what.
Closest thing, just with the name.
No, nothing's. I'm just saying, comes close to Halo.
Spider-Man, I knew that's the closest thing they got as far as launch lineup, which is it's a huge name. So
that's
but I mean,
people working on Halo trying to hit it, because if they hit Halo and they have the console at the same price, that's a big boom for Xbox.
That's huge.
On launch day, that would definitely bring me back.
It's still right, but Halo's still up in the air. It's as I was told or inquired, if it comes in, it's going to come in hot. So it's going to come in, meaning just at launch. But they're trying like hell. They're hiring a lot of people, contractors, and everyone to try to get this game at launch.
Let's do a little hypothetical here. Let's say it does not come on launch day. How does it affect Xbox and what they're doing?
Well,
anybody?
I'm pretty sure they got at least some kind of a plan B.
Yeah,
Well,
they would have to. They have to have something to launch.
That would be easier to answer when July comes, when they show their their cards. I think
big blow.
That would be a big blow, like Tim said.
Yeah, I agree. Did they say anything about Horizon Zero Dawn being launched with the PlayStation 5?
No, I don't think so. That's going to be
most of those games that were shown for like 2021 or further.
Yeah, that was not gameplay that they showed for Horizon.
It's going to be a bit off. I would assume at least a year and a half away.
I'm also going to call fraud on people. I'm tired of people all of a sudden hyping Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm not talking about here, but so many people just totally beat that game into the ground, saying that it was trash. The quests were repetitive. Go fetch my leg. And that the animations really sucked, and now all of a sudden everybody's hyping Horizon Zero Dawn again, and it's just like, well, what happened when that game was trash? I actually loved that game, and I played it when everybody was calling it trash. So
I didn't hear anybody say it was trash. I mean, it was critically acclaimed across the board.
It was boring.
Listen,
said that because Breath of the Wild came out at the same time, so I think they were trash.
I will say, what is it? Back when Crap Gamer years ago, when I listened to him,
he bashed the fuck out of it.
Yeah, he used to I would basically say people from over on that side of the neighborhood were beating the game into the ground, and it's just, I don't know why people put so much emphasis on facial animations, because to me nothing looks real. But anyways, no, that game was awesome. I can't wait for Horizon Zero Dawn 2. I'm going to buy a PlayStation. I just don't know if I'm going to do it day one, purely because I'm going to have all this great stuff to do on Xbox and play, and I don't know if I'm going to have time for a PS5. So that's definitely a debate in my head.
I'm going to laugh so hard if Forza makes it as a launch title and GT7 does not.
It's supposed to be a launch title, if I'm not mistaken, right, Tim?
It didn't look...
I don't remember seeing anything about a date.
They literally haven't released a full GT game this entire gen.
Has anybody played the Gran Turismo off of the PlayStation Now? Because I never have, and some people were trying to say the graphics didn't look anything different. I thought the graphics looked good, but I have no comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they look. Someone just popped up a comparison with the PS4 to the GT5, and you can see the ray tracing. Like, you can just see sunlight looks completely different. I'd have to find
I think that the game itself, the comparison side by side, looks amazing on the PlayStation 5. Yep.
Yeah. No, guys in the chat, I don't think Horizon Zero Dawn is going to be a launch title. It was mostly...
They didn't even show gameplay.
Yeah, they didn't even show gameplay, so... I would say that it's going to be a bit off. It's going to be at least a year and a half into the PS5's life that we get it. So,
man, if Halo can hit that date, a launch date, I mean, it'll be a powerhouse
of developers and like everybody that they're pulling in.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, it'd be huge. It'd be like a year head start we're talking about for Xbox, because, I mean, at that point, what do they really have?
And it's Game Pass day one, too.
Yep.
I mean,
yep.
It's just too much going for it. And from what I've heard, it's going to be a game that might be 120 frames per second on some of the modes. So right off the bat, you're getting next generational stuff on a new engine, new generation game. Listen, it's just too good to be true if it hits, but it's going to be very hard to hit it, I think. I just think
I just hope they don't rush it out, Tim. I mean, I hope with all these people, they're just trying to put a piece of the puzzle together. I hope it's finished right now and they're just trying to polish it up. But
so
I don't.
I agree with you, Jeremy.
Can I hop in on this just real quick? It just kind of popped in my head. Why is the whole world willing to give a pass on The Last of Us 2 being delayed indefinitely until what went down to change that? But pretty much the game was delayed indefinitely, and pretty much everybody's like, oh, it's a pandemic. We can give them that. But how can we not say that Halo Infinite was not affected by this pandemic either?
Oh,
like everything's been affected by it. So why cannot Xbox get the same pass as we understand you guys kind of had a little bit of a hiccup in the development cycle, because of a situation that we gave a pass to a different company. Now, keep in mind, they gave a pass to PlayStation. What makes this different?
Because they're chasing.
Let's be honest. I mean, Xbox has a lot more riding on Halo than they do with The Last of Us 2 by far. It's not even. I mean, look how many employees they've hired just to try to finish the game.
Developer's shoes. Put yourself in the developer's shoes. You're basically holding them to a different set. You're holding them to a different set of standards.
There is a different set of standards. We're talking about Halo. Halo Infinite.
But isn't that one of the biggest? But that's one of the biggest problems today, which is one of the biggest social issues in our world right now, is people having a different set of standards and rules for different peoples and different groups. So because they're over there on the Xbox side of the line, they're held to a different standard than the people on the PlayStation side of the line. And that's just a perpetual problem what's going on in the world today.
So let me give you an idea. Halo is the Star Wars of the video game industry. The Last of Us 2 is not. So Halo's a culture, whether you want to think so or not, and The Last of Us 2 is not. So I mean, you can compare the two about development cycles and what needs to come out when, or the COVID virus. At the end of the day, Halo Infinite is held to a much higher standard because it's part of our culture. It's part of.
In which case, you would want it to be delayed so that way it was able to maintain that standard of quality.
So I want it to be delayed. I want it to be delayed because I'm afraid that if it's just pieced together, then we're gonna get a shit. We're gonna get a shit type of game, type of experience that it's not. Fans are gonna be pissed over, and that's what I don't want.
That's my fear too.
I don't want it. I don't want it to be a patched mess. Exactly. That's what I'm getting.
And I don't either. Yeah, I don't either.
I have a point to Centurion, and I listen. I'm one of the first guys to agree with this different set of standards for Sony and Xbox. 100%. One of the examples is Valhalla being 30 frames per second. Xbox gets absolutely smashed for it, made fun of. Sony fanboys going crazy about it. And then Sony show comes and they have a bunch of 30 frames per second and nobody says nothing.
Yeah.
So that's one of the bullshit. But in this case, here's a couple of reasons why I think that you can't say you definitely they can use it as an excuse, but the difference is Xbox needs to prove what like Xbox One X didn't at launch. They have to show a generational game that proves the hardware out. So if they can get Xbox and Halo to launch at the same time and to prove that, that's going to just prove itself. It's prove its weight in gold. Now the fact is that if it doesn't make it, you're 100% right. You really can't give it to them. It would be definitely a big blow because everything's set up for Xbox right now, and that's kind of the biggest thing. They'll have the most games, most likely. They'll have the most generational, highest quality, biggest exclusive AAA. And if they can get that all to launch on Game Pass, that's a huge get. So kind of like it's
real quick, Tim. When you say a big blow, you meaning launching at the same time as the console, or
if it gets delayed, it's kind of like
But if they have to do it, they have to do it. You got one shot at getting this right. I mean, they always got this. They got this stigma to me, like they just. I'd rather have a delay than to have them come out with this game, and it's just like it's just not right.
We don't know. I don't think that they will launch it in a broken state or something like that. I don't think that they will, and that's why they're pushing so hard because they have so many contractors. They're trying to get the game done the right way. But it's like somebody asked me this question. Rand asked me it. And I said, this is what I think. If we go in and we have a relapse with COVID in the fall, it's over. It's not going to get done. If we can actually get through this and not have a relapse and the COVID doesn't stop everything again, I think that they have a good shot at launching it.
Now, can I just hop in on, I want kind of like how my crazy mind works. I actually don't see them having a problem with the whole working at home thing. We see Microsoft kind of strives in these situations. Like, I think it's really interesting that all of a sudden during this whole pandemic, now we're starting to see commercials for Microsoft Teams. And this isn't something that Microsoft just invented out of nowhere. You know darn well this is something that they probably used internally for a very long time. And that's what they're raving about on Microsoft Teams, about how it shares information and you can bring up... Basically, the thing is meant for holding meetings with large groups of people and the sharing of information. And they've obviously filtered that out into the public as Microsoft Teams for people to use. And so I'm just saying that because Microsoft is able to make communication tools like this, I know darn well this whole working at home thing, it was a hiccup, but I don't see it as a death blow.
It was a big hiccup. Centurion, I think it was a big hiccup. And the reason why they're building these studios, respectfully, is because these teams need to really work together to stay on top of things. And I kind of have a feeling that it was, I mean, these studios, 343 is huge. They're working together for a reason. And not to go into too much detail, I just think it was a big blow that everyone had to work from home.
Well, I work in an industry where we're actually behind, but in my industry, we're only about 2 months behind. Mm-hmm. Which which seems extreme.
I mean, you got so many.
I'm just saying you could theoretically crunch it out, and
you can do it. But you got kids. I mean, you just think of just having kids in the background. Trying to knocking on that door while you're trying to work. You got to walk the dog. Things you normally don't have to deal with at work. You can focus. You put it in a place where you can focus on your job. But when you're at home, you have to deal with the family. It's just tough.
When you read some of the articles from the people that have had to work at home, though, they've actually said increased workflow. They feel a lot better, and actually they would prefer to work at home because they feel like they're actually with their family more. So there is articles coming out that are saying like they're seeing actually improved workflow from at least some employees doing in some industry. I couldn't tell you what.
I think it depends on the person, but from what I gathered and what I've heard, that it's this delay or the delay. COVID was the reason why Last of Us was delayed was because they couldn't get the physical media out there. They didn't have the discs.
Yeah.
I mean, how quick do you think their rhythm? Real quick, how quick was you think their rhythm? They got back their rhythm after they were just told all to stay home. Think about how much time that even took. It had to be within 3 weeks to a month, even just to start the year
they took off
turning again.
Just looking at it, but the thing is that I've heard that games next year we're really going to see the fallout of all this.
The effect.
Year. Yeah. I'm just to like hop in on they kind of saw this coming. It's not like COVID-19 just magically flew over here. They knew what was going on over in Asia as of December, and darn well these companies have people that they have employed to basically make predictions. And when they saw the situation, how it spread from country to country and they were shutting down, I know darn well somebody somewhere was like, well, what if that happens to us? And some think tank somewhere started hatching out a contingency plan just in case it happened to us. That like I'm just saying, like big businesses,
why
predict stuff like that.
You're forgetting the big monkey in the wrench here, and that's the stealing of property. Whenever you work from home on work servers and you're doing landlines or something like that. I mean, let's face it. The internet is not this kind, good place. You're going to get your information stolen no matter what, and then you see. That's the reason why people don't work from home.
You heard Phil say, even with giving out the consoles, giving them out to the what do you call those things?
The developers.
It was the dev kits. It was difficult to even make that decision. I mean, it's not as smooth as as you would have liked to think, and it's difficult. I really think it's difficult.
I'm not saying it was a smooth, I'm not saying it was a smooth transition. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of thought that had to go into it.
Yeah,
I think though Seattle in its case worked pretty diligently fast to because you remember Seattle was the first. They had that senior home.
Yeah, they had. Listen, there were people that worked there that their own family members affected, and or friends of family that were affected by that. I'll say that. I know that.
The whole thing is listen, I agree with that.
Never see it. Go ahead.
I just think that it's neither. You really can't fault them, but it's like one of those things where if they can just do it, it's such a huge get. It just means everything fell into place, and their whole because their whole vision was for Halo to prove itself. And I've heard this from people inside Xbox, to prove itself as a next generational game. Where remember when they launched with Forza and everyone said you have to prove the power and you didn't prove it, you just had a car game. This was their chance to do that. I think that kind of resonates with them, and then that's one of the big reasons they want to show Halo and hopefully 120 frames per second and maybe one of the multiplayers, who knows, or some kind of craziness, ray tracing, where we're like, wow, that's power, because they have an unbelievably powerful system. I mean, Sony has a powerful system, but Xbox has an unbelievably powered system that's software engineered in and out for ray tracing to do its thing, and show itself off. And Halo would be the first step in that, and that's why I hope they make it. But it's like I said, if it comes in, it's going to come in hot.
Now,
done right there.
Yeah. Now, Tim, you mentioned this a little bit earlier. Speaking about power and frames per second, it came out. Digital Foundry did an analysis of the PlayStation 5 games that they showed in the trailers, and a whole bunch of them were at 30 frames per second. Even the first-party games like Ratchet and Clank, Stray, Demon Souls, although that offers a 60 frames per second mode, Destruction All-Stars, Horizon, Oddworld. I mean, that's not exactly a good look for a next-gen console, especially when Xbox Series X, Microsoft's been touting like 120 frames per second. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I think the only thing that they showed in that showcase, for Xbox showcase, that was 30 frames per second was a multi-plat Valhalla game. And like I said, I just feel like it was unfair because, do you guys remember? I think we even talked about it. You remember the fallout, of it being 30 frames per second? I mean, I remember Colt being all upset, and people were like, "Oh, this is really bad." Listen, I think what it proves, I don't think that Xbox is going to be only 60 frames per second. These consoles are going to still have 30 frames per second games, and some of it will be deliberately done that way just because they want to have more power to do other things such as ray tracing and path tracing if it gets that serious, to do stuff like that. So, I think it was a little bit of a disappointment because to me, if they have 5 games that are 30 frames per second, I'm pretty sure Xbox is going to have some games that are 30 frames per second. It's not going to be 60 across the board. And I thought, from even talking to people, that 60 was going to be the standard, but maybe it's not.
Right. Well, guys, it's going to be interesting to see, in the coming months, what unfolds. Obviously, we're going to have an Xbox event in about a month's time or so. Sony might have something else, but it's exciting. We got actual games going on. We got to see the actual console for PlayStation. And hey, you know what? It just means that the releases of these systems and games are coming soon. So
I still want to find out more about it. I know you're ready to switch subjects. I just kind of want to know what their backwards compatibility, plans going to be. And is it a deal breaker though for people though if their games are mostly 30 frames per second? I think
it's only to the hard. Yeah, it's only to the hardcore crowd. I mean, nobody else. I mean, the average consumer doesn't pay attention to that stuff.
I think it's a good game. A good game's a good game. You know, there's plenty of games I played on the console that's 30 frames per second. I'd much rather be 60 frames per second, but that wouldn't stop me from playing the game.
See, I'm just going to the console that's 120 frames a second all day long, and that's the KFC console.
that was an interesting thing I saw on Twitter. That was crazy. It caught me off guard. I didn't expect that.
Yeah. KFC. Yeah, they put out.
You know what though? Actually, I'm a little mad at KFC. They need to be a little bit more clear on their advertising. Just how big is the chicken chamber?
It's pretty big. It's pretty large.
All right, guys, we're gonna move on to some other things in the industry. And guys, our friend of the show, Thomas Mahler of Moon Studios, he recently made comments on Reset Era regarding first-party versus third-party use of new next-gen SSDs. Now, this is what he said, and I quote, "I would be shocked if most third-party developers would not just develop their games for the lowest common denominator. I mean, there's literally zero chance that levels will get changed just because the PlayStation 5 can load them faster, simply because it's way too expensive and work intensive to do that." Now, he continued saying, "The super fast PS5 SSD is nice for first party, but it won't make any economical sense to heavily adjust your games to suit one particular platform. On PCs and the Xbox, you'll have to work with what's there. So it's two platforms against one." So very interesting commentary from our buddy Thomas. Tim, I'll go to you here first. Does Thomas's comments shut down the whole importance of the PlayStation 5's SSD?
Well, listen, I think that yes, I think that the SSD was kind of overhyped, and it's been put on a pedestal that people that don't understand technology, went crazy with and started saying things like it's going to bridge the gap, and the Xbox isn't the most powerful system because this can load in 8K textures and all this type of stuff that they've read and not really conceptually understand, but they just throwing it out there because the console wars. But the bottom line is that what Thomas said really makes a lot of sense. You're not going to make a game that can possibly load a little bit faster on PS5 or maybe have a little bit of a design difference. And then you're going to have game that's going to then be on Xbox and PC. And PC is the lowest common denominator now with mechanical hard drive. Again, I think that you're going to see the most, the ability of game design. First of all, when it's really going to take some time for people to figure out how to leverage the SSD. But you're going to see it mostly in first party. And that doesn't just include Sony, because Xbox has its own SSD, and I don't know if they're going to be making cross-generational titles all the time, but even if they did, they would have the time to possibly develop it. But then again, it's like what Thomas said, it's too much money, it's too intensive, and it just doesn't make sense. And what really are we getting? Like, we need examples of what it's doing. Yes, the Unreal Engine shows some of the stuff, but like we need developers tend to come up with things and then ideas, and then people follow that idea. It's the same thing with even when we first started playing video games. Remember, we're breaking a box to get like materials was like something that we started doing. And then you'd see it in other games. It's the same thing here. Developers are going to follow each other, but it's going to take some time for developers to figure out ways to leverage the SSD, for the first party with Sony and even Xbox. So I think that people just got way ahead of themselves here. And Thomas just shut everyone up because, he's a developer. and he's most likely making a he's making a multi-platform game. People were saying he doesn't know anything. He only does Xbox games. That's not true.
He's actually a tech guy too.
Yeah, he's a tech guy.
Oh, yeah.
So, and he's not somebody who's, playing like I believe now that Ori's done, the next game they're going to come out with is going to be a multi-plat game on Sony, on Xbox, which means that he's not going to have any bone to pick, or he's not picking sides. Xbox wanted to buy Moon Studios, but because of Thomas and his partner, they said no. They wanted to be independent. So there's no shilling here. That's just a developer telling you the truth. And guess what? That's most likely 99% going to be the outcome. They're not going to make a game that can leverage whatever, percentage of speed difference that Sony has to spite itself for the rest of the platforms, which is Xbox and PC, which still a huge amount of, people playing on Xbox and PC. So the bottom line is that it's going to come down to what he says. There might be some cases where they might experiment and say, hey, we're doing it at faster load times. But, I don't think that there's going to be things that are going to be done on PS5 that can't be done on Xbox Series X. I think been blown out.
I do think some of the little stuff they can do, like, take, for example, some of the draw-in distances. I know there was a funny little meme going around with Gran Turismo, for example, with them not using the technology and some of the lights that were coming in the tunnels. I don't know if you guys seen that one. Yeah. So the pop-in, draw distances, all that stuff. Some of that stuff, the SSD can do a good job, or a better job, I would say, on Sony's platform. But as far as the big one, Tim, yeah, you nailed it. That's not going to happen where they're, putting finances and making it, a different game because of it.
And what is the end result too? That's the thing. Is it going to be something where you're just maybe like loading in a little faster, or you don't have to?
Yeah. So you're definitely going to see YouTube videos with Sony fans comparing load times being on a particular game faster. Yeah.
TF Digital Foundry is going to do that too, and and Sony has an advantage there. As an Xbox fan, I can admit that they have an advantage there.
But who would take that over frame rates?
But you'll see Grassgate again coming up. Oh yeah, Sony. I guarantee you, Grassgate's going to come up again. We're talking about draw-in distances, and that stuff's going to come back.
But
so just be prepared.
On Xbox's side, that's just as silly being leveraged against them. I do think that Xbox is going to have from what I'm gathering and what I'm seeing, I think that they're going to have a frame rate advantage over Sony, meaning that if a game is running the same and it's an intensive game, I think you're going to get definitely more stable frame rates from Xbox, just because of the solutions that they're using, the fixed clocks versus the variable. And Sony's clock, by default, is a little bit slower. So, it's going to be interesting. But bottom line is they're both great consoles. They're both looking good. It's to what your preference is.
Now, I do think the first-party games such as Ratchet is going to take advantage of the technology. I think that's going to be their showcase from the start. But we'll see about these other games that are coming out.
That's what I was going to say. Was Ratchet and Clank was a very big example of the potential of that SSD.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But it's going to be the first party that are going to be able to showcase this.
Exactly. Just like though, the other half of that sword is like Thomas Mahler also said that first-party studios on the Microsoft side are also going to be the ones that are going to take advantage of the extra power of the Xbox of the Series X, the majority of the time versus the third party.
Yeah.
Correct. Well, he said that also you probably see more resolution and you see better frames on Xbox,
Yes, he did say that. Yeah.
I
was just making the point that I was just gonna say. I was making the point that both of these consoles have features that are more than likely only going to be used by the first party studios, and that's on both consoles.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Guys, I think the real conversation out of this is going to be how the first party teams utilize the technologies they have. Yes, Xbox has a more powerful system, but Sony has some nice developers, internal developers working for them, and we still don't know. Yeah. We still don't know exactly what we're going to get out of Xbox's newly acquired first party teams. So I think that's the big kicker here. Are we going to get games that look and feel next gen, or are we going to get some of the previous entries we've seen last generation? I hope not.
Are we going to get strawberries?
I remember when I saw God of War, when I played the PS4 God of War for the first time. I honestly thought it was like like witchcraft. I was actually very well surprised. I was like, wow, these guys are definitely pushing the limitations of what they can do just from the amount of detail and quality they put into their titles. And I'm not saying Microsoft doesn't do that, but I definitely could see where you would say what you've said, Downer.
Well, I could say they don't do that. I mean, I could see a clear difference. I mean, just by their previous, previous games.
Now,
first party games.
Now, but then that's where I weigh the issue in my head, the difference of the culture in the two companies when it comes to the developers. We hear about what Naughty Dog and other first-party studio developers supposedly go through, and that's where you don't really hear those crazy stories coming out of Microsoft studios, and so that's where is it because PlayStation is always pushing their first-party studios to do this, or does Microsoft have to be more involved with their first-party studios? That's where I'm kind of curious on what would you think would fix something like that?
Well, in the past, there's been some disgruntled companies, disgruntled employees. I mean, look at Press Play. I mean, you have, Lionhead. You have the situation at, Platinum Games, Twisted Pixel. I mean, we can go down the list. Yeah, that stuff has stopped, or it's very limited. But in the past, absolutely, it's happened. You're always going to get people bitching anyways. But, hopefully that perception's gone you can see the difference between how Phil and team is approaching, their teams, their first party, how much they're investing in the quality. I think you're going to see come July, I think you're going to see it paid off. And just how hard they've been working, that's my hope. That's my hope.
That's my hope too.
But I've been disappointed before.
Well, if they start coming out with strawberries, we might as well hang it up.
We got a problem, Houston. I want to see what the initiative has to offer. That's the one.
I don't know I thought they were going to be showing something, but now I'm hearing different things.
Really?
So, I don't know.
I don't know. I thought we were kind of get like a trailer, like some type of trailer or something they're working on. I thought was going to happen
because the rumors were that they were developing 2 games, one for some quadruple A IP, and the other one was supposedly the rumor is Perfect Dark. What have you been hearing, Tim?
I just heard that some of the things that we've been hearing might not be correct. That's all. Nothing other than that. So what that tells me is,
with all these rumors circling around, I don't believe anything anymore. Especially when we got the Sega, the whole Sega.
Exactly.
That Game Gear.
I mean, listen.
That's the next giveaway.
I heard in April from really good sources that Xbox was going to show Fable, and they were going to show and have a big. They're going to show Lockhart in June, in May, and that freaking thing turned out to be that third-party shit show. or whatever. I don't think it was that bad.
It wasn't a bad show.
It was bad. It was bad. It was disappointing.
It wasn't.
The games, if you focus on the games, it was a decent show.
It wasn't that bad.
In retrospect, if they came out in a different, honestly, that was just. I think that too with COVID, a lot of people gave Aaron a lot of grief because he was on his cam. Listen, that's the position that they've put. He's up in Montana. He probably didn't even have broadband. He probably had, who knows? Jeremy probably ran him a freaking DSL line. I don't know.
like I said, if you want the next
sabotage,
it's just like it's the type of thing where, they kind of stumbled there, and Sony, even though it had a good show. They, Xbox should really kind of, they should do what Jeremy said. Like, it's been 2 years now. They've been full under control. They've grown. All of them have grown a lot. So we should see something, and I hope they just do. I hope they show the whole slew of it. So take no prisoners.
I do
just
too.
Saying, here, this is what we got. This is what we're doing, and here you go.
Now,
and
Tim,
you don't have to show gameplay on everything. As we know, Sony just showed stuff, and they didn't show all gameplay on Horizon stuff. People just care really about seeing the name and what's coming.
Have you heard anything? Have you heard anything about Compulsion?
The only thing I've heard on them is they're expanded about 15 people. I believe they were looking for an artist or something like that to that effect. And the rumor is a horror game, which I like.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see. They've been very quiet after finishing
the
We Happy Few.
And I think they have the least amount of pressure on them. I think couple of the studios that really shined itself to Xbox and kind of had Xbox kind of get behind them and maybe probably hire people and say we're going to give you a big budget is In Exile is one of obviously Obsidian has proved itself. Project the Playground, we know that they're from what I've told that people said Playground's going to be the real studio that shows off.
I just want to see them show
elite talent.
Show Fable
we know it's coming.
It's coming.
I think that's coming.
Mm-hmm.
For them to have a good show, they have to show Fable. If they don't show Fable, even if they show a lot of other stuff, it's an L. People want Fable. We obviously know it's freaking it. Everyone knows it is. Just get it out there, and Hellblade 2. I think it's going to be a really highly rated game, and it's going to do its thing. I've heard very good things about it.
Well, look at bloody, what was it called? Flight Simulator, for crying out loud. That thing looks gorgeous just from Oh, if that sucker gets on Xbox, which, would be nice. Ooh, that thing's going to be a beauty. But it's amazing the games that they're going to be able to push out in the new, coming soon.
Tim spoke about In Exile, Invader, and I think, In Exile is one of these companies. They've always created great games. They've had, I think his name's Brian Fargo, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Brian has been there forever. I remember him, and I met him actually a long time ago, but Brian is one of these guys, he's a smart guy. In Exile has smart writers working for him. There's a very talented system-based team, meaning they, like the Diablo team over at Blizzard, they create really great system-based games and characters. And I think you're going to see, with a budget and some of the stuff that's coming down the line as far as their hiring practices go, you're going to see some amazing products from In Exile. I think that's one of the. We all know what Ninja Theory can do. We all know what Obsidian can do. But the wild card in it. But I know, but hardcore gamers know what In Exile is capable of doing. But a lot of people on this panel and a lot of people in chat have no idea what they're capable of doing.
Yeah.
And I could tell you this: In Exile is one of these developers that Xbox got to steal from.
Yeah, they've hired about 30 people. They're going to be using Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah.
Supposedly, it's definitely a AAA RPG they're getting behind, and yeah, like I said, they caught the I guess the ire, or not the ire. They caught the eye of Microsoft. Obviously they bought them, but they were very impressed with Brian, and the way they've seen their game, Wasteland 3, from the state it was when they purchased it to now, and it's like night and day. Like I said, for Compulsion, from what I've heard, they're kind of like the baby. They're just, they're the small studio. They're hiring, they're growing, but they were picked up essentially because of storytelling, and like I said, I hope that we get a horror game from them, because I think that's a good start for them.
Something maybe in the realm of like a BioShock too, because they have some talent from there too. Like maybe not exactly horror, like they can have, but like, just something along those lines. That would be fantastic. But yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting what we have to look forward to. And with all the technology that we have with the SSDs and everything else, it's going to be exciting what these studios produce. But guys, I'm going to move along to another topic. And it looks like Xbox is implementing a new feature into its systems, making it easier to claim games and, well, other goodies. Xbox is doing away with the 25-digit codes that get bundled with the new systems, and will instead have games and other... Yeah, you said it. And other DLC embedded into the console, and you can claim them during the setup process. Now, Centurion, I'll hit you up first on this. What do you think about Xbox ditching the long redemption codes bundled in the consoles?
I think it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, if you catch my drift there.
Yes.
So Microsoft is not the first company to do this. Ubisoft actually last year came out and said they want to start ditching what they are is they're code keys. It's pretty much what it is. So right now there is a problem of companies getting a hold of these keys and repackaging them and selling them. Like right now, that key is meant for a game as a promo inside a console purchase, and say somebody buys the console or actually steals the keys, because actually I do see videos and stuff all over Twitter of people that buy consoles that have actually the key cards actually taken out of them by the employees that are actually selling these consoles. So these things are actually worth money. And basically Xbox is wanting to probably make it to where the consumer doesn't have to deal with that. And they're also wanting to protect themselves. Other companies are doing this. But like I said, it's a double-edged sword. It definitely makes it a problem in the fact of, let's just use it as an example. I bought an Xbox One X a couple years back, and it was the Battlefield 5 edition console, and I used the code from the first purchase, but there was something wrong with the console, and so I had to exchange it out. And Best Buy, for whatever reason, basically did not open up the box and get the code cards out. They just gave me another console, and I actually took the code cards and gave them to a friend of mine so he could have Battlefield 5. And so they're going to get rid of that problem pretty quick too, making it to where you can't get the same game twice.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, you're right. It is a bit of a double-edged sword. Like, I remember at the beginning of this gen when Xbox was using scannable QR codes. Remember that they were trying to push the Kinect?
That was awesome. That's where I was going to go. That was so easy, and I wish they would bring that back, or even via the phone, and you would just go and using your cell phone and be able to do that.
That's what I thought.
And they never did it. Like, I thought they were going to be able to scan it at least with your phone, use the camera, scan it in.
Like that was a pretty good use. Like I think the only time I used it was with Rise DLC. That's about it. they never really fully implemented it. I mean, obviously they wanted to get rid of the Kinect ASAP, but still, I mean, it was still a good use for it. But
I hate.
I don't see how this would be any type of a negative. Really, it's already tied to your account, so it's basically whenever you sign in, the first account to sign in is the account that it's attached to.
Well, I think what Centurion was alluding to is that a move like this, it would kill the after code sharing market, considering
to give you an example, let's use Cyberpunk 2077. This is actually the first game that they used this in. If you bought the Cyberpunk console, you did not get a code. It was physically embedded into the console. But what if you're one of the people like Mr. Boomstick XL who buys everything? He's not only going to buy the console, but he's also going to buy the collector's edition. Now that's where you now have a copy of the game bound to your account, and you have another. I'm just saying, if this becomes common practice, it just makes it to where if you start doing that, you're essentially buying the game twice, and you can't give the other game to a friend.
He could just give the game to his friend. He could give if he bought the collector's edition, he just gives him the disc.
But some people would prefer. That's why I'm just saying. Now you're getting that's where they're trying to make the argument at the end of the article that there is some people that are like physical discers and stuff like that are starting to basically say that this is the downside of it.
First world problems.
Exactly. Yeah, I know it's definitely a reach for a negative. I will definitely say that. I'm just looking at it that I know that there's going to be someone somewhere that is going to say this sucks.
I heard Crappy said, "What's next? No more game share." I'm like, how does that even equal the same thing?
Well,
you mean the one that does game share better? Because I recently just started doing game share on PS4, and it asked me every 30 minutes, "Hey, you need to re-authenticate your account." I'm like, I don't understand why. I'm hooked up wired to my PS4, but it's annoying as hell. But never have that issue with the Xbox where I have to re-authenticate my license every day or hour.
Go figure.
Actually, it occurs every 30 days. If you were to go into your settings right now and offline your console, not your profile, but actually offline your console for 30 days, all your pretty much the games.
Oh yeah.
The games that you have through Game Pass and Xbox Gold, they would all start turning off because they didn't have that 30-day check-in.
Yeah, I don't get asked to do it every 30 minutes while I'm playing
They're spying on you.
But yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Now,
yeah, I'm with everyone. I think that it's a double-edged sword type thing, and just for myself, I got the Cyberpunk console. And I was going to give it away, but I have to. Now I had bought the game, pre-ordered it, so I'm actually going to have double copies on my.
Are you going to open that console, Tim? Or are you going to just kind of
I don't
keep
know.
it tight?
I don't know. I'm probably going to open it.
I'm assuming they're still doing codes, right? Because don't they have to still send out review codes?
Oh, they're not halting codes, but this is probably
okay.
them starting to figure out ways to stop it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And I think this is gonna be moving forward the standard what they do, to be honest.
yeah, and I think they're doing it first with the Cyberpunk 2077 Xbox bundle, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's what the article said.
I tried to get one of those, man. I'm gonna have to pay like $600, $500.
Don't be at the store. You just have to get there early and grab one.
Yeah.
We'll get the GameSpot deal. You can do the games. You have to buy it's an extra $100, but you get like the you get an extra controller.
Aren't the consoles in the stores already?
No, maybe. Yeah, I guess
I got mine. I got mine.
Yeah, there's no. I don't know if they're in stores, but I know they're selling them.
I haven't seen any in store, or I just thought everything was like online purchase, and it's just everything says sold out.
I'm thinking the reason why they're doing a lot of that, like through Best Buy, GameStop, and all of them, is the whole COVID thing. And I'm pretty sure they're doing a lot of curbside pickup, and a lot of those systems you have to pretty much make online purchases. And I know a lot of the stores weren't allowing people to come in and browse around. So That's where I don't even think they were allowing people to come in and just grab them off the shelves. So I'm pretty sure the only way to actually get them was
you got
to
my
buy
hopes
them
up
online.
on that. I'm like, they're in stores. I didn't see. I mean, I looked at every online outlet, and
well, over here in
I got your phone
funny,
number. If I come across one, man, I'll pick it up for you.
do it.
I'll mail the thing to you if I have to.
And you will get the money directly.
They're like
funny,
$470 on eBay.
So right now in Montana, we're in phase 2, and we can actually go shopping. But before this, GameStop, I would have to travel to GameStop, and then you could shop in their store. You just got to hand them your credit card, and they'll do the shopping for you, and you just wait outside, which sounds silly, or you can purchase it online.
What?
So would you just like yell through the window and point at stuff?
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
That one right there. No, to the left, to the left.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just bring everything outside, put it in the tent.
He's like, he was asking for my credit card information over the phone, and in Montana, that's actually a common practice. Believe it or not, people giving credit card information over the phone. It's not like Los Angeles or where. So people trust one another for whatever God knows reason, and they share the information. It's weird like that here. Different world.
Yeehaw.
Now, when you travel to GameStop, are you on horseback, Jeremy? Because Jesus,
the closest GameStop to myself is about 54 miles.
Jesus.
Gee. It sounds like when Downer gets into town, he has to give a nod to the sheriff.
Got that hat on.
Pretty much.
A little bit. Slick that hat up a little bit.
Yeah, he has to dig his way to GameStop.
What the heck?
I still say that Gears 5 console is still the best looking one.
I got that thing sitting right here. I am so glad I got that. That is my trophy for this gen.
Which one though? The red one or the white one?
The white one.
The white
one X.
I have them both. I have them both.
But Jeremy, do you tell me that it's very windy by you, right? Like it's super sandy and windy.
Oh my God, it was super windy. We had 60-mile-an-hour gusts.
You live out in like the plains, don't you?
Yeah, so Ennis is between two mountains, and we just get the gust in between those coming in between those mountains. Like it's almost like a wind tunnel, so to speak. And we get windy here, like almost every single day. It's windy here.
Can you go up the mountains? Can you have you attempted it?
What?
Or can you go up the mountains, or does a bobcat chase you away?
Well, so right now, there's signs everywhere that there's bears, and you have to carry bear spray wherever you go, or your gun with you for sure, 100%, because they're all around. I mean, dude, there's more bears, there's more cows in Montana than there's people. Just to give you an idea.
I feel like Downer lives in a different time period when you listen to this stuff.
Land of the Lost.
It's funny because Jeremy
Lost.
in what was it? Pico Rivera.
It's Los Angeles, basically.
Yeah, so he was like really in like the urban area, and now he's in this.
I tell you what, though, those pictures you share with us is gorgeous. It looks beautiful out there.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Jeremy comes between the two mountains.
Yeah, so there's, for example, there's deer walking on my lawn. Sometimes there's no, it's not that crazy. But when you get towards, definitely coyotes. Small animals. Nothing large. There's might be a moose once in a great while, but other than that, there's Any
Xbox executives ever just wandering around?
You know what? The head of MSNBC owns a lot of land here down the street. He owns crazy land out here. He owns probably about a good 3 miles worth of land. And who else? You see, forgot.
Don Matrick. You got Don Matrick.
So you're saying that Don Matrick has been put out to pasture?
Yep. What's cool about it is I live right like near the river, so I could walk down and fish if I wanted to. It's pretty cool.
Oh man. All right, fellas, we're gonna move into what's looking like our last topic of the evening, and it's a rather interesting topic at that. There's a report making the rounds, and according to the report from CNBC, AT&T is looking to sell off its Warner Brothers gaming division. The gaming division, it includes some pretty big name studios such as NetherRealm, Rocksteady, and Monolith Productions, just to name a sizable chunk of the studios there anyways. Now, supposedly, AT&T is looking to ink a deal for about, roughly $4 billion. Now, Shock Buddy, you're first on deck for this one. Is this a surprising rumor, given the success of the IPs like Mortal Kombat and the Batman Arkham games?
Yeah, I would say like a purchase of this size or someone trying to just sell it off like to the bidder versus like someone just coming in and trying to acquire it. Probably shows that AT&T's maybe in some trouble after they've acquired DirecTV. I don't know if that's probably going south because people, cord cutting. But yeah, I did see that rumor. At first, it was just like talks of like EA. I forget what the other players. I think maybe Blizzard or something like that.
Activision, Blizzard, EA, and Take-Two supposedly are interested.
And then there was someone there. Let me see their Twitter name here. At Valine. I guess they have internal workings or like partnerships or work in some type of partnership with WB or with those like studios that would have like some insight. And they tweeted, whether it was a joke or not, they tweeted, I hope Microsoft ends up buying WB Games. And then they did tweet after that, kind of like a laughing gif as well. But they also went on to say they'd like to see them buy it because, Microsoft would probably keep a lot of those games not exclusive to the Xbox, like probably Mortal Kombat, probably keep it still multi-platform versus like if Sony bought them, they'd probably make them exclusive, close it off. You can't play it on PC or Xbox or other consoles. But that was interesting because before then everybody was saying, "Oh, we hope Xbox," or some fans were saying, Xbox buy him or Phil buy him. But that was the first tweet I saw that people were saying, "Oh, okay, then are you being serious?" And obviously they didn't go into any more of it. But that was what was giving some validity of that Microsoft might also be like at the table of a potential, like someone maybe looking at their books or looking like what's up for sale. They could be sniffing around.
I want to get your guys' opinion on this. Will this be something that you guys want, or will there be another developer / publisher out there that you guys would rather have by far?
It depends, right? What do you get for $4 billion on buying Warner Brothers? You got what? I guess Mortal Kombat.
It's really just.
And you don't know if you own. You don't know if you own the IP. That's where it gets a little dicey. Is that you could get the studio, but do you own the IP?
Well, we know Batman for sure. They won't own the IP for sure, 100%.
But you can keep renegotiating the licenses, like just like WB for decades.
You have to nail that down. One of the other things that I've heard is that they're not going to send it. They're not going to sell it piecemeal. So like they won't sell it like Rocksteady one. They want the full $4 billion for all of it. But with Xbox, if they did that, they have a lot of redundancies in marketing. They have their own marketing staff. They'd probably have to let them go. They have their own executives that probably have to let them go. There's certain things that would have to be, swifted out. And
a lot of things.
Yeah, $4 billion is a lot of money. And there's probably a reason why they're selling now. Like I think Shock said, maybe it's because of DirecTV to offset that. But listen, if they got them, they'd have to make most of the stuff. I would say they have to keep some of the stuff exclusive. I mean, just to get it to run it.
They would get Fear.
You know, they could get Fear. I mean, it would be a great. It'd be a boom, but
for $4 billion, I would think like they would release at least the first iterations of those games after the acquisition to get their money back first, and then make the.
No, they won't even get them. So not even a splash.
They have to make Batman exclusive.
Yeah,
head of Game Pass. You know, then they would have Mortal Kombat versus KI.
Yes,
which would be huge.
That would be awesome. So you could keep Mortal Kombat multiplat, but then keep KI versus Mortal Kombat.
Exclusive.
Yeah, that would be
make
awesome.
that exclusive.
It's possible, yeah.
They got some more games. They got Harry Potter, Wizards Unite.
They got Harry Potter.
They got the Lego games.
Injustice was a pretty damn good game.
They got Injustice with all the superheroes. Yeah, listen. I think it's
I don't know.
Huge for Xbox to get it. I just think that there'd be a lot of things, a lot of red tape, a lot of certain things that they need to nail down before. But with that being said, I do think that maybe Microsoft would look at it, kick the tires, but you know, there might be something where they'd be interested, but maybe not at $4 billion.
So
$4 billion's a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
I think $2 billion's been offered.
But think why Blizzard or a smaller company, you know, I know they're popular, but what they want, what are they seeing in Warner?
I don't think they can come up with $4 billion. That's the problem.
Not too many companies can come up with that chunk of change.
Whereas I think Microsoft would be a drop in the bucket. So
look what they paid for Minecraft.
Yeah.
What did they pay for? What did they pay for that stupid?
They paid $1 billion. They paid $1 billion for Mixer.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And what did they pay for Nokia? That garbage.
I think they paid like $4
They made worse decisions. So.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. I mean, Microsoft has a cash on hand about $150 billion. It's nothing to them.
And you get your money back real quick if you just keep those licenses for a few years.
That's what I think.
Mortal Kombat,
Middle Earth. If you bring back Fear and just resell it, people bring it back to Steam, remaster it. People on Steam would buy that up in seconds. It'd be a top seller.
Game Pass is thriving now. Imagine with Batman.
Oh yeah, that'd be huge.
Day one Batman.
Look what Persona 4 Golden just did on Steam. Top seller. Outsold the Vita version in a day.
So listen, it's something where they should kick
Tim, Rocksteady and Monolith they're talented. I mean, they're talented developers, but I don't think they're worth. I don't think that deal is worth $4 billion. Not even close.
See, that's the thing.
So they're not open in negotiation on that price.
That's
$2 billion's been offered. That's what I hear.
Right, but I don't, not to interrupt, but like Jeremy said, I think it's too much, especially if you're not securing. You got to secure those IPs. You got to get it, and at $4 million, that's just. I think that's AT&T. I
mean, you could secure the IPs, but are they? To me, they're not worth that much money. There's nothing in that deal that to me says, "Hey, we need to make this ASAP."
Right.
I mean, you can make Mortal Kombat exclusive if you want.
For people who ask me, tell Phil to buy, or does Phil tell you he's going to buy them? Do you realize that if Phil told anybody in that they're buying that's illegal and that's trader information?
Yeah.
So please don't ask me. You guys, I think if you want it, just hit up Phil or hit up Xbox. But the likelihood, I would say, because of
go straight to his gamer tag.
I wanted to dig into like what Shockley said because it got me curious, and he's like, right. So since March of last year, AT&T DirecTV, they're down actually almost 17%, and they lost over 1 million subscribers in the month of March because people were at home and realized that there was better services and now more competition with Disney Plus and I guess now HBO.
Over the top. Yeah.
So basically they're ditching, not only cutting the cord, but they're also ditching all the subscription services that AT&T has rolled out using DirecTV.
They need some cash flow.
Yeah. Well, the biggest one was the NFL deal, and even that, I mean, it's restricted by region. I mean, I know here in Montana, for example,
they're not even playing football this year, too. It's a disaster.
Yeah, it's a mess. So it's just like a domino
the company
effect.
has changed since AT&T. I've been with DirecTV for years. I've stuck with them through when they got bought out by AT&T, and their customer service has gone down the tubes. I'll say that as a consumer.
So there you go.
I do think that I do think that somebody might pick them up, but there is an outside chance Microsoft will do it. I don't think Sony could possibly look. If Sony got them, that'd be freaking huge for them too. But it depends on who can come up with $4 billion. I mean,
I just can't see them selling them all together. That's the thing. Like, it would have to be piecemeal, in my opinion.
Well, I think they are trying to sell it all together, aren't they?
They are trying to sell it all together because they probably they have divisions, the marketing division. They probably want to just get rid of the whole thing. If they started sending it piecemeal, then that's like NetherRealm would be right up Xbox's alley to get Mortal Kombat. You have Booty there.
Now, how would you feel if by some chance somebody like Microsoft or someone else came in and bought the whole thing and piecemealed it out and kept what they wanted?
Maybe Microsoft could do that. That might be something.
That's actually typical in my industry. It is a typical thing for an investment company to come in and buy a large business and actually start piecemealing out the separate industries that form it up.
That's an interesting way, but it's something definitely to look at. You know, if Xbox was in the position it was in 2017, I think that they might be looking harder. They would have been looking harder at that time when they were looking really expanding, because as I told you guys, you know, Xbox and I've got confirmation here on this. They've hired a ton of people, whether it's at Rare, whether it's at Exile, whether it's, you know.
This could be huge for xCloud too. Like you launch it with like a new, I don't know. Well, Mortal Kombat just came out recently, but still, like with all these Batman Middle Earth, that could be huge too.
Well, there's certain licensing issues, as was mentioned in the chat too. Like they would have to work out some deals with regards to IP, like whether
some
it be
of those licenses
Batman.
are probably already tied up in those like studios for probably a good amount of time already.
That the whole licensing thing I was wanting to get to also is like, look at what Spider-Man. If by some chance I forget how it works, but whoever has Spider-Man, if they ever sell, the rights go back to whoever. Like, I mean, there's a lot of stipulations around that one character alone. And we're talking about entertainment franchises like Lord of the Rings, DC Comics, and other franchises. And there's going to be a lot of stipulations behind those characters. Not to mention, at this point, how do you kind of start divvying up profits and proceeds associated with those characters, because now some of those characters have merchandising deals that can be associated with them. I mean, there's a lot of like red tape, and we've seen how Sony has battled Disney over the Spider-Man character and its use.
Imagine buying them for $4 billion and then not securing the IPs, and then now you can't make Batman. I mean, you still have.
That would be a damn disaster.
That's a disaster.
Although you would have new studios, more developers, more talent.
Right, you'd have more developers.
It's not worth $4 billion.
$4 billion?
Exactly.
Just make a new studio and then tell them, hey, come on over.
Well,
exactly.
That's why you would have to, if you're Xbox or your Microsoft.
You would get Mortal Kombat though.
You'd have to, like, it's like when you sign a guy, like in baseball, you have to have the deal already set. I'm going to be able to license out these Batman.
Yeah, and you get like first dibs to re-up the license whenever they expire.
Exactly. You got to get some exclusivity.
Kind of like EA does, where EA just signed a new license for NFL.
Right.
To lock that down for another whatever.
They're looking to do it too. So
even with Mortal Kombat, you still run into the same situation. There's been television shows, movies, cartoons, toys. Regretfully, there is a lot of like red tape revolving around Mortal Kombat now, because we're not talking about just a software franchise like, forgive me, like Killer Instinct. We're talking about something that has like ties to like I mean, there's a lot of money involved when you talk about Mortal Kombat, and there's been a lot of hands involved in the cookie jar of Mortal Kombat, and these guys all want to get paid just like everybody else.
Well, you know, you have to look at this strategically too from Microsoft's perspective, because they do have, like, again, a fighting franchise of their own, Killer Instinct, which was, well, it was pretty well received last gen, but they lost the developer. Like, Amazon took Double Helix right out from them, and they had to kind of, you know, get what are they called, Iron Galaxy onto it. A studio like NetherRealm would fit perfectly with them. They could do.
Yeah, it would fit perfectly, and that's why
they could just buy NetherRealm. To be honest, if they could just buy NetherRealm and get them, and even just, you could probably keep Mortal Kombat multiplat, but you could make the game, you know, exclusive
with the Killer KI versus
Well, you could alternate.
Freaking huge.
Yeah, and you have Injustice too, so yeah, you can alternate all those.
And then that's why I said, you know, somebody like Microsoft comes in, it'd be awesome, you know, if they want NetherRealm, you know, try to obviously get them to come off that 4 billion mark and try to talk them down at least as low as you can, get a hold of what you want, and then just start sadly liquidating the rest.
Yeah, I think they'll come down. If the top bill's like only been 2 billion, it sounds like people aren't getting anywhere close to where maybe their number is. So,
well, again, with Minecraft, don't forget they paid an absurd amount of money for one game, technically, just, you know, for
and it wasn't. It was like lightning in a bottle, so it wasn't like something that was, you know, true. You know, had been tested, you know, for decades, like some of these like franchises or some of these studios have. So that was definitely a riskier buy probably back then.
Well, Phil probably took the calculator out, showed Satya. He's like, yeah, we could probably make up this money within, you know, 6 or 7 months, and lo and behold, they did. And now it's such a driving force for Xbox Game
Studios. What you could do with NetherRealm is get the calculator out and be like, all right, if we were to buy it up and take what we want, liquidate everything that's left, and with the games we could turn around and the money we could make, we could potentially, you know, break even by this date and start making money from that point forward.
New Batman movie, new Batman game. There you go.
Well, everybody's been bugging, you know, the Coalition to make like a Captain America game or Punisher or whatever it may be, you know, just for Xbox Game Studios to get involved with these IP, because, you know, with Marvel and Sony, it's like, okay, they have this deal in place, but look at how well received Marvel Spider-Man has been the past couple of years, and Xbox guys are looking on like, hey, you know, it'd be cool to have like some kind of a famous comic book IP, like a Batman or something from DC's library.
Aren't they already working on another Batman game? Aren't they? No.
Yeah, well, supposedly. That was supposed to be at the PlayStation 5 show, but that was.
Oh my God! Can you imagine if it's real and whoever acquires WB would basically have that game?
Well, it seems like with every acquisition that Microsoft has made, their games have always, if it was already in production, they just released it as a multiplat, right?
Well, yeah, it would probably be the same thing. They probably would pick and choose exclusivity.
Yeah, We Happy Few, what was it, Outer Worlds? Yeah, they pretty much, Psychonauts. Yeah, those are all going to be multiplats, even though they were acquired.
Right.
Well, it depends. Psychonauts, I mean, has it been confirmed that it'll come to all platforms?
Oh, yeah. Yep. It was a Kickstarter, so yeah, they kept it.
Oh, okay. They're keeping with that. All right.
Yeah, now, Psychonauts 1 is backwards compatible, though, so I think that's the only place you can play on the Xbox if you want to play the original.
Yeah, well, We Happy Few is another one that was, they've been pretty consistent with that.
But those will be in Game Pass, whereas everybody else has to pay full price.
If they did buy Warner Brothers and they kept everything multi-plat, I think that would be kind of, I guess you could look at it two ways. You could say, they should go exclusive. I think guys like Jeremy would be freaking screaming at high heaven that it'd be exclusive. But then you look at it and you'd say, hey, well, I get Batman and I get Mortal Kombat for free. Or not
another
free,
good shot.
Or I get them for Game Pass. That's the thing. Like, to sell Satya on it, I think you'd have to sell them on two things: xCloud and Game Pass.
And in that same title, it's a shot at Stadia, because you'd be keeping off like Mortal Kombat and like Batman, huge IP off. You could just keep that off of Stadia if you want.
That's the thing.
You want to dominate the cloud space and keep them off.
Let's also have a gamer's dream. Imagine Microsoft owning the Mortal Kombat franchise, and all of a sudden you got like Master Chief as a playable character. What's his face from Crackdown? I mean, you could take some of the more iconic characters from the Microsoft franchise and actually kind of incorporate them into. Basically, that's how you would make that.
That would be an awesome idea.
That would actually be the exclusive way of keeping Mortal Kombat exclusive. Like, well, you can get the bare bones version over on those guys' platforms, but if you want to have like extra characters and stuff like that, you got to be on the Xbox side because they're Xbox characters.
Listen, it's just very interesting. It's so cool. If I don't want to say I said to myself, it's too good to be true. I don't want to say that, but if you really look at it, I do think that there is an outside chance because two things. Listen, if somebody mentioned Google should be the guy. Say, if Google had any balls and wanted to really get involved in the game space, this is the way to get.
They definitely have the money.
You get 10 studios right away. They can have no
make Mortal Kombat exclusive,
right?
Make everything exclusive. Now your service is cooking.
Now you know who would be more destructive than Google, though? Amazon. They have Amazon Prime.
Well.
Those characters can be used outside of gaming. Remember that. They can be used for television and movies, and Amazon Prime is a hungry monster that Amazon needs to keep going.
Yeah.
And they're looking to start a gaming division.
And remember, they've been very quiet. They've been very quiet.
They're doing something in gaming. So, those, I think they got to be considered. I wonder what.
And they have the Killer Instinct dev, so.
Yeah, they have. I wonder what Amazon is going to end up doing. What the hell are they going to end up doing? Because they have something up the sleeve.
And something's going to happen. Like they're going to sell. They're probably going to find somebody to sell to because they're hurting for cash. That's why they're probably like openly, courting.
They don't care.
So something's about to happen. Some publisher or one of the big three is about to get it.
You got to give them kudos for wanting to sell right now. Like, think about it. Everybody's comparing these two great big monoliths, Xbox and PlayStation, and how many studios each one's got. And I think they probably picked a very good time to all of a sudden say, hey, we're up for sale, because everybody's all pretty much looking for studios right now.
Well,
yeah, but not. The thing is that they would have to say, I think the perfect match is either Amazon or Google, simply because you'd have 10 studios. Now you have the PlayStation studios and Xbox game studios. Now you have Google game studios. You have that. You have they've bought a couple of others, and then you really start to get your service off its ground. They just came up with. That they're not getting Cyberpunk day one. Those are big blows to Google, and I don't know how much.
Cyberpunk, the Cyberpunk ones was a backbreaker.
Did you guys hear that they accidentally leaked on the Stadia the Gods and Monsters game for Ubisoft?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, they leaked an early build apparently.
$4 billion. I tell you what, though, if Microsoft would have offered Sega $4 billion, you think then
They'd probably need more than that.
It depends what Microsoft wants to address.
There.
Like, I still think I would take.
I would take Warner Brothers over there because the Sega doesn't really have any developers.
Yeah, outside of Atlas and
buying the IPs essentially, I guess, and then.
But you would own the IPs where you don't with this Warner Brothers deal. It's like what the hell? Like you have to.
I mean, at least you get, I guess, Fear and Mortal Kombat. That's.
Hey, that would be huge.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
Like those would be too nice IP to have. I mean, hell, even just Rocksteady as a developer, like they're so tight.
They're so good.
Yeah.
Even though that they've had, somebody brought it up to me last night. It's criminal that they've only come out with one game this generation. I mean, what the hell is going on with the next Batman? The last Batman made a ton of money, was a huge hit. Everyone loved it, and that was in 2014, 6 years and you can't come up with another game when you have all this money at disposal and you have people wanting to buy your game. It's a slam dunk when when it comes to things like Batman, if you have the right developer behind it, Spider-Man, the right developer behind it, these superheroes, forget about it. You're going to make a ton of money. People will buy the games. 15 million people bought Sony Spider-Man. That's crazy.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah, just amazing what those IPs can drive for sales. All right, guys, I think on that note, that'll end off tonight's show. We certainly had a solid talk tonight about like the various PS5 reveals, the console SSD comments, obviously the AT&T Warner Brothers stuff, and so much more. And of course, I gotta give a shout out to the chat. There's lots of chatter going on, and I love to always see it every Sunday night. People like Crispy Bomb, Jesse Darby, So Shady. Thank you for joining us again, brother. UK Dazarus, dude. It's like 3:00 in the morning there. Get to sleep, pal. Mike from NLG Gaming, Shizno Elite, P. Alvis, Swerve, Lord Tipsy. Lots of cool guys joining us. Thank you to everybody that joined us in the chat. Diego as well, just popping in. If you guys haven't already done so, then hey, if you happen to enjoy the show, then consider dropping a like, share the show out, and subscribe for future TXR goodness. Remember, fellas, we got a giveaway going on for a Cyberpunk 2077 limited edition Xbox One controller. Head over to our Twitter and see how to enter. All right, boys, let's get to the outros. Megatron, buddy, where can everybody find you?
Oh, as always, I'm first, huh? You can find me on Twitter or at Megatron_1975. You can hit me up on Xbox Live, man. Chill out and yeah, it was a good show, man. With everything that's going on, true that. Let me tell you, with everything that's going on, it's been good to be back with you guys and just it just feels great talking about games. I love you guys too, man. It's
like,
it's a great
last night he's like, I gotta study. I've been out of the loop. I'm like, dude, you talk very good on. You're very good.
I appreciate that, especially coming from you, Tim.
You come in here cold, you're fine.
Yeah.
Just don't shoot the shit,
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. It's just it's been a hell of a time for me, and with everything that's going on in the world, just to be able to just do this and not, this is a positive thing.
Believe me.
It's
I'm there with you. It's been a tough time since the COVID. There's nothing to do. A lot of stuff that's going on in the world, and just this is a way to get away, and at least we could do it here.
And shout out to everybody in the chat too that always comes through, man. Really appreciate you guys coming through. Just to whether you're just saying hello or just and just all around just feels good, man. I love talking about games. So that's it.
What happened with Invader? Did he fall over?
Invader? I don't know. I think the COVID got him. The COVID got him.
No. Shock, buddy. We're going to head over to Shock now. Where can everybody find you at, brother?
Yeah, you can find me at Shock Nero on Twitter. Easy Shock on Xbox. Thanks for stopping by. It was a definitely good show today.
Yeah, damn straight. Tim, hey, it was a great show tonight talking about all this news. Where can everybody find you at, bud?
Find me on Twitter. xCloud Tim Dog. You could also find me here every Sunday, and RDX on Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It was a great show tonight, guys, and got work in 7 hours, so I'm a little depressed in that aspect, but it was good that we had a good show today. A lot of good conversation.
Tim, I think it's time to change your name to Mr. 21K Tim Dog or 20K Tim Dog. It's time to change, buddy.
Maybe.
Definitely. All right. I just like you, Tim. I got to get up in about 7 hours. Heading straight to bed. All right. Centurion, 50 Cent, buddy. Good show. Where can everybody find you at?
You can find me right here every Sunday night with you guys. I also do the Shop Podcast every Saturday night. I am also able to be found on YouTube, Xbox Live, and Twitter at Centurion1307.
Yeah. And everybody, make sure to check out his channel for his Maneater game review. It's pretty good.
Thanks. I'm also doing an article for BG4G Hub for the official review on that one. That's why I haven't really tweeted it out yet. But yeah, I'm also doing an article for them on the review. But it was a fun game. I mean, it's really definitely worth your money. You know, sometimes you kind of buy a game and you're like, oh, I should have got that on sale. I didn't really feel that way with Maneater.
Yeah, well, it's
I gotta get that. How much is it? $40?
$40.
Yeah, it's $40. Yep.
Yeah, I gotta get it.
It's 40.
It's definitely fun. It's like the best way I've described it is it's like
sharks.
Right? It's like Jaws meets The Meg, but it was directed by the Sci-Fi Channel.
Wow, sounds interesting.
Yeah, I gotta look into that too. And we did a giveaway for it, guys. So it was a good title, very good title. Jeremy, buddy, I'll leave off with you. Where can everybody find you at?
Gentlemen, good show tonight. Good stuff. You could find me on Twitter, Downer. It's at LoneMasterWho07. You can also find me on Xbox Live. It's Downer Space J.
All right, awesome stuff. All right, fellas, and of course, I'm Invader. Everybody can find me on my YouTube channel, Invader Gaming, and I've got a slew of newly released Project Warlock achievement guides going up in the next couple of days. Good game. I'll have a review out for that soon. Also, I'm on Twitter. I'm pretty active on there, at Invader_1986. Again, great show, everyone, and we cannot wait to see you here next time. Take it easy, everyone.
Later.
Take care.